Alright, it's been a while since I posted anything, so I figured I'd make this quick update video to just kind of show how things are going in the mod. Um, I posted a teaser video like 1 or 2 days ago that kind of got no views, but that was to be expected. It was like a 10-second long video. So I'm gonna make a little bit of a longer video here. It's not an update log, not really. It's more of a preview. So the biggest change so far is that the project is called something else now. It's not Limatech anymore, it's LTX Industries. And the second biggest change is that because of this and a lot of other things like that I changed like internally, the next update 0.17 is going to break saves. Like it's just not gonna work. Like there's no salvaging it. So unfortunately, if you did have an established world, that's kind of gone. But then again, I did have that beta disclaimer. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover some of the biggest changes, and it's gonna be quick because most of my work has been on the back end. Like I've rewritten a ton of the internal code. Um, that's not gonna, unfortunately, that's not noticeable really in gameplay, but there are some things that have changed. You can see here that I've retextured a lot of things. The primary ingot storage blocks, so you can see them over here. It's better to see them in world. They're, I would say they're a big improvement, especially, well, slate looked alright, but titanium and no, that's titanium and niobium look a lot better. And there's also been retextures to the raw ore and the ingot. I didn't touch the nugget because that's already fine. Actually, no, it's not. These two are gonna get changed, and so is this. This texture is also gonna change. I made it too. I mean, what's the word? Opaque? No, like not shiny. It's not as shiny as these other two, but it's. I'm gonna add some detail to it. Circuits, copper, gold, and niobium circuits no longer exist. They've been replaced by a circuit board item and 5 tiers of circuits. So yeah, that's gonna add a little bit more definitely needed complexity to the recipes because yeah, there was only so far I could go with just making everything cost like 3 stacks of titanium. That was eventually going to cap out somewhere. You need complexity, not just amounts, because the thing with requiring like 3 stacks of titanium to make the heavy pistol is that it's either too hard or too easy. No other way around it. Because you either have resource production mods like automated mining or you don't. So, yeah. And that's as far as it goes for the existing like changes to the existing content, and upgrade modules have gotten a retexture too, and the fabricator blueprint, these were already here. Yeah. In terms of, oh, and the neon lights, glow box, I renamed them as part of the mod name change. These are called neon lights to match my other backport mod. The colors do look different because I changed them to more closely match their concrete colors, at least for the 16 standard dye color neon lights. There are 5 extra ones here. These are, this is the old lime neon light because the this is how it looks like now. However, this is the signature, the mod signature color. I can't have that missing. So I added 5 extra lights, one in the signature lime color, one in the energy blue, or the color of the energy that I use. The chartreuse, this is the color of elemental electricity in my mod, and this is the one that the Hanabi's electric shells use. Acid green, this is going to be called viridic green, probably. Um, this is the Hanabi's acid shells and also a new fluid that I've added. And Nero blue, self-explanatory. The Nero shells for the Hanabi. And okay, just making sure that there's nothing else I missed for the existing content. Okay, yeah. There's still some pending retextures. I definitely have to get these two done. The block of raw ore and the pebbles. I have to get those done. So, yeah. Okay, moving on to new content, because there is some. I did say that most of my work was in the back end, but no, there has been some work done. I recreated this world with a world edit and just got this back up and running. And down here, let's go to our lab. Not really a lab, but you know. So I finally added fluid support to my mod, and well, I added a fluid, but also fluid support to some of the machinery. That's also a huge change that I'll go into right now. This is called viridic acid, and weird name, but I mean it's a sci-fi mod. I'm definitely gonna lean way more into the phi than sci part, and just making stuff up as I go. And okay, I have to name this, but this acid is, it actually reminds me of, uh, I don't know what the mod was called, but way back in Minecraft beta, there was this mod that added like colorful glowing fluids, and one of them was acid or something. I don't even remember, but yeah, I mean, I really like the way this looks because it kind of adds like that like sci-fi factory look of it. And this, the way you make this, or the way I plan for players to make these is to use those plants in the backgrounds. These are vitriol berries, and these you can find in the nether. Now, let me go ahead and go to the nether because I kind of want to show how it looks like. Just probably be faster to spawn in a portal, but oh well. Okay. Okay, I had not visited the nether apparently. So, okay. And there should be another fort here. If this starts taking too long, oh yeah, there's one right here. So yeah, you can see here that these plants, they're called bilevine. I don't think you can see it. Um, they spawn in nether fortresses underneath nether bricks. So you're gonna find them either in the hallways, but more likely under overhangs, like on the bridges. So this seems to be a mostly indoor nether fortress, but yeah, you can see that there's quite a bit of these. To get them, you right click and harvest the berries and plant them on the roof. This works the exact same way as glowberries. You cannot harvest these manually. You can if you use shears, either regular shears or my Epsilon series shears. And that's for the plant. Let me go back to the lab now. So I have set up a few recipes here for the new machines. Okay, so machines. We've lost one. The recomposer, if you even remember that, is no longer with us, and that's because I didn't think it was really fitting thematically. Like, what did it even do? I'm trying to remember. Like it made lime dye from like leaves and white dye from titanium, but oh, and an alternative recipe for the guidebook, but it just it wasn't really like I well I didn't like it. So its role is going to be split up into two machines, one which is not yet implemented, and the other which you can, which is here. So we've lost one machine, but we've gained three. And let me show you. These are, in my opinion, the best looking ones to date. We have the electrocentrifuge, the mixer, and the chem lab. And before I go on further, let me also pull out the grinder and the MFC, because these have also changed. Now, the grinder and the MFC. The grinder, if you remember, it was a strict one-to-one item conversion. That's changed. It now has, it's still one input, but it now can do up to three item outputs. And let me show you. Most of the recipes have remained unchanged. The only one that's changed now, and it might get tweaked, is this one. You can see that now when you grind cobblestone to gravel, you now have a chance of getting flint. And I am going to use this, hopefully, when I get around to rewriting the recipes for the mod. Uh, take advantage of this byproduct item results that I set up. This is actually what most of the work that I mentioned in the backend has gone to. And the MFC. The MFC is still three item inputs and one item outputs. However, this is a fluid slot, and you can see that finally there's fluid support in the mod. None of the recipes so far use fluids for the MFC. That's probably going to change, probably, but yeah, there's fluid support now. And now let me set up the three new machines: the electrocentrifuge, the mixer, the chem lab. So let me go ahead and I won't upgrade them yet. Okay. Let's start with the electrocentrifuge. This is a this is one of those things that I came up with because I thought I don't want to add too many machines, and I'm trying to like avoid correct tech in that sense. So I combined electrolyzer and a centrifuge into one, the electrocentrifuge, creatively enough. This takes up to one item input, one fluid input, or a combination of both. And there's one recipe here. This is a placeholder recipe I set up just for this video. It might actually stay though, because I actually quite like this recipe. You put mud and you split it into dirt, a clay ball, 5% chance of mangrove propagule, and a bucket of water. So yeah, this is a splitting type of machine. This is one of the two machines that are going to replace the recomposer. This is going to be like the extraction component of the recomposer. So when I get around to it, this will probably do like leaves to lime dye and maybe not titanium to white dye, but it'll do what the extraction part of the recomposer would do. The other one is the transformative part of the recomposer. That's not in the game yet, but I'm gonna call that like the voltaic injector or the energizer or something like that. So that's enough for the centrifuge. I'll show it off in a bit here, all three working, because these two are animated. This is not, but it still has some nice effects. The mixer. I guess you could call the mixer the opposite of the electrocentrifuge, because this is, you can see the UI is reversed here. This takes up to four item inputs and two fluid inputs. It can do items only or fluids only or a combination of both. And it outputs one item or one fluid or both. And this, I do have two recipes set up here. Is mixing dirt with a bucket of water to make mud, and that's the part I was mentioning, that I might keep that recipe in to make a closed loop to have a clay farm. Like you mix mud with a bucket of water and dirt, You get that dirt and bucket of water back, and you profit a clay ball. And okay, very rarely like one of these. I don't know what can you do with these. Oh, not much. Okay. The other one is viridic acid. I'm not sure if this is the final recipe for it. It might be, but this is how you get it. You mix two of those vitriol berries with a bucket of water, and you get a bucket of viridic acid. Now, this fluid is going to be a key ingredient for pretty much a lot of the chemical recipes in my mod, and maybe even ore processing, maybe. So the next one is the chem lab, and this one only has one recipe. And okay, it's self-explanatory, but I'll say it. It's three up to three item inputs, up to three fluid inputs, can be items only or fluids only or both, and two item outputs and two fluid outputs. And this is the only recipe that's in here. This one is probably also going to stay. Um, the paper I'm not so sure of. I was thinking of adding plastic. I don't really have a recipe in mind for that yet. Well, I do, but it requires me making and adding some items, which might make it, might not. But I definitely do want to add plastic. So, there's something I was gonna show. Well, I'll show these in action and I'll say how these work. These have these fluid slots work pretty much the same as item. You right click to deposit a fluid or left click to extract the fluid, and you have to have something that's valid, so a bucket or a fluid capability item, so like a portable tank for mechanism or something like that. So what was the recipe here? Okay, mud. And yes, this is animated. You can see it's gonna run its recipe. This is slower than the other ones. The other ones are like 160. I think this one does take 200 ticks, and it's quite a bit of energy usage here. Make it a bucket and berries while I'm at it. So, ooh, left click, yeah, left click, take water, right click here, and the either slot. It reads the ingredients from all of them. Let's play some berries. And it's gonna play its cool little animation, and it should give us a bucket of the acid. And there we go. Oh, and since this is giving us water, let me configure fluids IO to output enabled, and this is gonna spring right back up and start mixing more acid with our water from the mud. And let's see, paper and copper, not copper blocks. Okay, and we can output fluids. And yes, this also lights up, and we have some cool looking fluids here. And it's going to make us a circuit board. Now this circuit board has this recipe. I might remove this, and because this circuit board is used to make, well, the circuits. It's used for, let me make these. I'll just look here, JEI. Yeah, so you start off with the basic circuit, and you make it like so. Then you move up to the enhanced circuit. This is tier 2 and tier 3. Now, tier 1 to 3, you can make in a normal crafting table. It is a little bit inefficient because you do have to make the previous tier. Now, tier 4 and tier 5 can only be made in the fabricator, and as well as these three have a fabricating recipe. However, you notice that this is a tier 3. This one, for the fabricator, you do not need the previous tier. So if you can, you should use a fabricator because it's going to be more efficient materials wise. And yeah, these all have fabricating recipes. What I'm likely to do is I'm likely going to remove this circuit board component for the tier 1 circuit and just replace it with titanium or something else. So you're not going to need the circuit board for the first 3 circuits. However, their recipe is going to be more expensive if you do it in the crafting table, more inefficient. But once you can and start making these in the chem lab, and this recipe is going away, once you can start making these, you can start cranking out circuits more efficiently, at least the first 3 tiers. Tier 4 and Tier 5, the nanocore processor and the real virtuality processor they're very expensive, and these do require, well, Tier 4 requires Tier 3 and Tier 5 requires Tier 4. There's no way around this. This is the only recipe for these. The good news is that these are only used in the higher rank upgrades or the more powerful items. Oh, and yeah, this is what niobium is exclusively used for now. This, what is this? Okay, the ESA upgrade. So tier 4 is used, well, to craft tier 5, but also you can see it's used only in the highest ranks of the powerful upgrades. You know, that no, that's looting, that's razor, fortune 5, the subspace link, this thing, the no anger. And tier 5 is currently only used apparently for 2 things. This, the god rounds for the heavy pistol, and the ultimate machine systems. And these have slightly different recipes. You know, you just keep using circuits. It escalates from tier 1 to tier 3. Yeah, that's it for now. See you next time.